Okay, fellas, settle. Okay, so we need to do some team bonding, but we can't keep going to the pub. So what we've done is I've hired some boats in behind you. I need you to pair up with a player who is new to the club because it's about even. I think there was about 15 or so of you here already, and there's 20 of you guys that are new. So I need you to just pair up with someone new and we'll do a fishing competition. I don't know what the fish are here. Someone's going to need to inform me about what the best fish are to catch, but we're going to do a fishing competition, and after that, then we can go to the pub, okay? Sweet as. Let's get into it, boys. Pre-season. Woo!
Looking for trouble and fights, but you found me. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I'm glad you're someone to rely on, someone to rely on. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I could be someone to rely on, someone to rely on, someone to rely on.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 2 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and today we are going to introduce you guys to the squad proper now that we have made quite a few additions, as you would have seen from the intro. I'm also going to play the first game of the season against Reynir S. So if you're looking forward to that, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are looking forward to this series, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But as I mentioned in the intro, we have signed quite a few new players here at Volsungur. We have decided on a tactic since the series introduction video late last week. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it above my head in the top right corner. But we have signed some players. We have figured out a tactic. So first off, we're going to introduce you guys not to the entire squad because it is quite a large squad here now at Volsungur. But what we are going to do is run for our best 11 and our current bench as well, and also introduce you guys to the tactic. What we have decided to do, because I think it's going to be easier if we go through the tactic first, is we are going 4-4-2 positive wing play. I think 2 strikers at this level should work quite nicely. This tactic's done a really good job for us in the preseason. If we go over to the schedule, you'll see friendly wise we have won a lot of our friendlies. In fact, we've won all of them fairly comfortably. Pretty good displays in terms of stat wise. We've been quite dominant, been playing through all those friendlies, and this tactic does seem to work quite well with this team, albeit in amongst some of those games we did have a lot of trialists and we did not sign all of them. So not exactly a team that's being used throughout the preseason, but they should be familiar enough with this tactic now, and this 4-4-2 wing play does seem to suit the players that we do have at our disposal. So we're going to run through the first 11 and the bench, as I said, with this wing play 4-4-2 tactic that we're going to start off trying here at Volsungur, seeing as it did work quite well during the preseason. So first off, in goal, there is our goalkeeper. He is on loan from Fieldcare, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential. We have just signed a goalkeeper on a wage who is also in the squad. We've told him he can be a first choice goalkeeper, 19-year-old, because we did talk some players' contracts down who were already here at the club, which meant we were able to spend a little bit of wage budget on some young players. So if this guy doesn't perform, we do have some good options in terms of backup goalkeepers, but he looks a good solid goalkeeper for us there. Does Sigchlig Son. He will be the man to start the season in between the sticks. In terms of the guy that I am talking about, that is Gunnarsson with his luscious long locks, the 19-year-old, good potential, £80 a week. He is here, just came in recently on a first choice goalkeeper contract. Definitely one for the future when we do lose that guy on loan at some stage. We'd probably be sharing the duties throughout this season. Good backup to have if we get some injuries there is Gunnarsson. But back to the team, we have got a few foreigners as our wing backs, because I did struggle to find good wing backs in the free agent market. But we got Richard Bakary from Benin, has 1 international cap, so that's a good little get for us. He is not on a wage at all. We've told him he can be a fringe player, but we are very light in terms of wing backs, so he is starting off as our starting right back. Current ability not great, but certainly has a lot of potential on the other wing back. He is usually a right back, but we're going to have to play him out on the left as our options out there are not great. That is Alexander McQueen from Grenada, 11 caps internationally. Good current ability, decent potential, nice little player that we've also picked up there on a non-contract, not paying him a cent. So that is quite nice. A couple of internationals at wing back. So not our strongest area wing back, but we've done decent there in getting those players in. In terms of our centre backs, we have got 2 Spaniards. They cannot speak Icelandic. All these players from foreign nations, because we're at an amateur club more or less here in the 3rd tier of Iceland. We cannot afford to send them on their language courses. I've been very careful with that. Do not want to make the club go broke. But first off, Jamie Agujetas, I believe is how you say that. He's a solid defender. Ideally would be a little bit better aerially, but he's pretty good quality-wise. 3.5-star current and potential ability. That's the best centre-back that we've got, and we're not having to pay him. So he is a good get. And alongside him, a very recent addition, also on an amateur contract, is Inigo. So that's 2 Spaniards. Neither of them that great in the air, which is a little bit concerning, but at short notice prior to the first game of the season, the best that we could do. They've got decent current ability, and hopefully they will do a decent job for us at the back. Those two, we do have quite a few local talents on the bench centre-back wise, but these two do stand out as the best options. Then we get to our midfield. There is a chance it would be better off playing these wingers up a little bit further, so they're like advanced wingers and it becomes a 4-2-4 or a 4-2-2-2, but we'll see what happens in the first game of the season. As I said, this tactic did work really well in the pre-season. Out on the right wing is an Argentinian who is contracted to the club, one of the highest paid players at the club, and that is Santiago Fulacia. He is a 27-year-old, very good current ability for where we are at the moment in the save, 4-star current ability and potential. Good little player there. As you can see, is actually quite well suited to the inverted winger. That is a role I do like using. So as I said, we might push him forward and see what he can do in that role. But for now, we'll start him as a winger on the right-hand side. On the other wing is another player. We've got him from loan, and this is Volsungur. 3.5-star current ability and 4-star potential. So 2 good, solid wing options for us there. And in terms of the bench, we've got some pretty good wing options there as well. Kiefer Morlard has had a very good preseason. We'll be putting a lot of pressure on those guys in the starting 11. In terms of the midfield, it's probably our weakest area, or at least it was until the day of this game, because we have just signed this player here, Bjarnason, the 22-year-old local. He comes here on £65 a week to be a regular starter. Stats-wise, doesn't look great, but current ability, 3.5 stars, 4.5-star potential. He comes in and just adds a little bit more depth to the midfield, looks a bit more comfortable in some of these positions than the other guys at the club do. And to go alongside him is probably the best player that was at the club when we got here, our third foreigner in the starting 11, and he is from Tanzania, Adolf Bitageko. Interesting first name, but you can see there he is a very good player, 4.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. Was originally listed as a centre-back. He looks much more suited to the midfield, being 1.78 metres tall. Could potentially also be a defensive midfielder in the future as well. £300 a week. Good player to have on board. I think he's definitely more of a midfielder than a centre-back. You can see the height, the heading, the jumping reach, not great. Might do a job for us in defensive midfield, but for now, he can be our box-to-box midfielder. And then we go up front. Now, initially, we're going to be missing one of our star strikers in Olgierson because he picked up a niggle in the pre-season. He is only recommended for 45 minutes. He would be in that deep-lying forward role, but we're going to have to work him back from injury. You can see he's quite a good striker. Is Olgierson can also play on the wings, but for now, we are going to be chucking up there. Leiderson, you can see he's got an interesting shaped head, but he's a decent prospect here at Volsungur. Has that 4-star potential, could go up to 5. Has done a decent job for us in that deep-lying forward role in the pre-season. He will just be filling in as our backup striker for most of the season once we do get Olgierson back. But the star man of the pre-season for us has been Christiansson. He has been a very good striker for us. You can see that 13 finishing, the highest amongst those at the club. 3-star current ability, but 4.5-star potential. 23 years old. Hopefully he can be a striker that we can build this club around for a little bit. I was hoping to get a really good striker from Norway who came here on trial. He did very good work with Christiansson in the deep-lying forward role in the pre-season, but unfortunately after we put a bid in for him, a club from the division above put a bid in for him, and he went to the club in the division above, so that was a little bit of a shame. We would have had a very good 1-2 punch up front and some good options there if the Norwegian had come and joined us. But unfortunately, he hasn't, and this is the team that we have got to deal with. Quickly running through the bench as well. We've got Ingolfsson at the moment as the backup right back. Solid, nothing great, but he'll do. We've got Christiansson as a left back come centre back cover. Young 18-year-old with good potential. I think he's definitely more of a centre back than a left back, but the fact he can cover both of those positions does make him a very useful bench option for us. Bolvinson, another Bolvinson on the bench for us, more or less as midfield cover. You can see 3.5-star current ability, so he is definitely a player who's going to be keeping in the mix this season. Milicic is another midfield cover, 2.5-star potential for the local lad. Morlad and Steinglimson is the other player we haven't touched on the bench. 3.5-star current ability, has good potential as a player who is worth a little bit of coin, so we're going to have to look after him. Regular starter, but we have got quite good depth here at Volsungur, I feel like, albeit not too many star players, but that's more or less what our squad's looking like going into the start of the season. And as we work our way down, we have got a lot of amateur players on the bench that we're going to have to try and keep fit through lots of friendlies, and we'll try a few different tactics throughout the start of the season once this initial schedule, because as you can see, we've got a few midweek games to start things off, but once we get past that Njavik game, we should be able to schedule a few friendlies and just see what suits us in terms of a tactic if we don't start off too well with this one. But it's going to be interesting to see how we do in this dield, this third division of Iceland in our first year of Husavik Heroes. There is what the third division does look like. And if we have a look at the season preview, we are now expected to finish 7th, 15 over 2 to win the title. So certainly not without a chance of gaining promotion in this first season here of the save. But if we could just have a good solid first season, get a little bit more scouting knowledge, I think after that we could really have a good push for promotion next time around. But the goal is pretty much just going to be to settle in here at the club first season, see what we can do and push on from there, especially after bringing in so many players. Our dynamics at the moment are not great, but it's non-league football more or less at the moment. The level that we are at here in Iceland, that team cohesion probably isn't going to get going up until we turn fully professional at some stage. But the club atmosphere, very good after the pre-season, and we've certainly got depth in numbers, which is something that those other clubs in our division might not have if they start picking up a few injuries. One player who we do need to touch on, if you saw my Twitter over the weekend, you would have seen this guy. I put him up on Twitter because he looks like an absolute specimen, and that is John Glitter Goodmanson. I'm a bit afraid to start him because he's wearing his glasses in this picture, and I'm a little bit afraid that if he wears those during a game, which looks like might be the case from that profile picture, we're going to have to spend a little bit too much on optometrist bills. So I'm a little bit worried about that. So he's just going to be floating around the reserve. There is that smart-looking 21-year-old who we have also picked up, an absolute specimen of a man, is that centre-back come defensive midfielder who's got a decent amount of height, to be fair, so good jumping reach. We might use him in the future, has a little bit of potential, decent backup. We've signed a lot of players like that just to bulk out the squad, but yeah, interesting looking man, that one. But we'll see what we can do with the squad that we've built here at Volsungur, but we won't get too attached to them too early, as it could change with this being very similar to what you sort of see in the non-league English pyramid. So players will probably be going around the place left, right and centre on free transfers and whatnot. The transfer window is about to end here, but I think there'll still be players going around the clubs fairly freely on those amateur contracts, despite that transfer window being about to close. But to start off the season, we are taking on Reynir. If we go back to the season preview, they are a team who have been promoted and are expected to go straight back down. So this is a game that we do need to be winning. A quick look at the Dream 11 as well. Bittergecko, our only player in that 11. So looking like a pretty solid mid-table team here at Volsungur. Hopefully we can find the right tactic throughout this first season to try and potentially outperform that. And once we settle on something, hopefully late this season or next season, we can really make a push for promotion and start to work our way up towards the top division here in Iceland and get closer to starting to build this nation from the top and really cracking in to this challenge. But we will come back shortly from the Husavik Heroes and we'll get straight into the game, as I don't think there's much point in this series of running you guys through the players from the other team, at least at the stage of the save, where not many of you are going to have much of an idea. But that is the team that we're going with. As I said, ideally would have Olgeirson starting this game, but he's a little bit injured, so Leiderson can start. But otherwise, that's a full strength team for us. And against Reynir, hopefully we can get 3 points in our first game of the save. And we have the first highlight of our first game here at the 10-minute mark. We are in the green and white, Reynir in the white and blue. And we do get possession back from that goal kick and look to work things down the left-hand side. Bit of a loose pass there That's something which we might see more of in this third tier of Icelandic football as compared to the Premier League, and now taking over Tottenham save, something which apparently is quite frequent in the game this year. Some loose passes, I'd expect that to be the case more so at this level of football than it was in the Premier League. But it is Reynir looking to get us on the right hand side here in the pouring rain in Husavik, and then they make their way down the left hand side. Good ball there. Somehow that's a miss from the Reynir player. That was a great chance for them to get the first goal. Still it remains 0-0 though. 18 minutes gone here, and we do have a throw in a dangerous area of the pitch. Put a ball in there. It's a finish. It's blocked and it falls to Fiolacia. Our Argentinian right winger gets the first goal in competitive football of the save, and it is Volsungur 1, Reynir 0 to start the season off. It's a block shot there from Hreidarsson, forced to Fiolacia, and he puts that away pretty comfortably in the end. So a bit of a fortunate goal to start things off here at Volsungur for us, but we are 1-0 up just shy of 20 minutes gone. 22 minutes gone now, and it is Reynir looking to get back into this with a free kick, although we are going to claim that from a little bit of a messy header, and we look to go forward yet again here. Bitagiko as the game gets a little bit freezy, but Bolthinson plays a nice ball over the top there for the Argentinian goal scorer. Puts a ball in. It's a header just over the bar there. I think that was from Hreidarsson again, and still 1-0 about halfway through the first half. And that is half time of the first game of the season in this third division at Volsungur, and you can see we are 1-0 up. But Reynir definitely still in this game, but we have certainly dominated things, looking quite good, and hopefully we can keep this up in the second half and get one more goal just to get a nice little cushion on these guys. But we're playing pretty well in a game that we are expected to win, and hopefully we can keep this up come the second half. No changes at half time. 1-0 Volsungur. Okay, up to the 57-minute mark here, nothing happening so far in the second half, but Alexander McQueen, the right back who's doing a job for us left back at the moment, isn't having the greatest game. He might take some time to get used to that position, so we'll bring on Chris Jansson, who's a little bit more familiar with the position, and we'll see what he can do out on the left-hand side. Our first sub, but we're still 1-0 up with just over a half hour to go. 62 minutes gone, and we have a throw in the final third again, very similar to where we scored the first goal from. Bitagiko, it's a deflection, comes off the post. Good chance there for our star player to get a goal for us. Now it's Reynir looking to get us on the counter-attack here, and they're looking somewhat threatening. It was a good chance there, and the highlight ends. Still 1-0 Volsungur, but pretty dominant in the game so far, and I think it's time for us to make another substitution here. Bolthinson not having a great day out there on the left wing, so Steingrimsson can come on for him. We'll see what he can do out on the left wing. Quite a high quality player, so good substitution for us there to use, creating a lot of chances, but still only 1-0 up with just over 20 minutes to go. 74 minutes gone here. It is a goal kick to Reynir, which we do win the header from, but give it straight back to the opposition. They will look to try and work their way back into this game with only 15 minutes to go. Ideally, we would have got one more goal from now. We certainly deserve it based on the stats and the highlights that we have seen, but just not quite clinical enough in front of goal. Maybe we need to have a little bit of a play around with our strikers' roles potentially, but we're certainly looking quite good at the moment, so not all going bad. If we can hold on to the 3 points in this game, that would be nice. Chris Jansson back to Bitagiko. Steingrimsson. I'll try and keep up these player names, but it's probably going to be difficult while I learn the players. But the ball put in there, they do deal with it briefly there to Reynir, but Bitagiko will get back on the end of things, and we are going to get given a penalty brought down right on the edge of the box. There was Steingrimsson coming off the bench, and Bitagiko is apparently our best penalty taker. This is exactly what we're after to try and seal the game, and we are 2-0 up with just under 15 minutes to go. Adolf gets his first goal of the season, and we do make it 2-0. Looking quite good here with this wing play system, the 4-4-2. 2 goals up with only 14 minutes to go. And before I can tell the boys to start time wasting a little bit, now that we do have that cushion goal, we are shown a highlight immediately from the kickoff. So hopefully we don't relinquish this 2-goal lead straight away, but we are back in position. Bacardi makes his way down the right-hand side. We have picked up a few yellow cards in this game, which isn't interesting, but the Argentinian makes his way down the right, cleared by the Reynir defender, and they now look to boot one deep. Inigo wins the header for us, and we look to get going again here. Hreidarsson having a decent game for us. Bitagiko back to Inigo, long ball over the top. Good chance here for Jansson, puts a ball across. It's a bit of a mess. Good save there from the Reynir goalkeeper. And with 10 minutes to go, it does still remain 2-0, putting a lot of pressure on these guys, although it's a bit sloppy at the back from us there, and they might be able to do something on the counter attack. Sigurdsson, I believe that is, down the right-hand side, bit of a 1-2. Reynir put a ball into the mixer. It's a header from Viktoric, I believe is how you say that. As I said, I'm going to be a bit rough on the pronunciations in this series, but Reynir, with 10 minutes to go, have found a way back into this game. Good little 1-2 down the right-hand side and running onto that ball. It's a good header, top right corner, and it is 2-1. They are back in this game with only 10 minutes to go. And we will actually make one change off the back of that goal, and Golfson can come on for Bakary, get a right back on who doesn't have to ease off tackles. I think that might be quite useful. So we'll make that change. That is our last substitution. Just slow the tempo down ever so slightly as well, and just start to time waste a little bit as we look to hold on to this 1-goal lead. And shortly off the back of that last substitution, we have a throw-in again in a good area of the pitch. It's a long one, falls back out to Freidason. Bjarnason, oh, what a strike. That is from the new midfielder, his second goal of the season, and that is an absolute stunner into the top right corner, and we go 3-1 up with 9 minutes to go, and surely that will seal this result for us. It was a long throw put into the mixer. They hit it out, but it was straight to one of our players, sets up Bjarnason. That's a really nice finish into the top right corner, and it's 3-1 Volsungur. 84 minutes gone here. We have another throw-in, but this time it is deep inside our own half. We're getting a lot of action happening late in this game as we look to get something going here. Down the left-hand side, long ball over the top, looking to pick off Jansson. It's a header back to the goalkeeper for Reynir, and it does eventually find him. So hopefully nothing happens from this long kick. It's flicked on, but our goalkeeper in on loan will tidy things up, plays a long ball forward. We are going to win the ball. Stein glimpse on. That's a wonderful little sprint there from Jansson. Hits the post. That would have absolutely put it beyond doubt. Great chance, but with 5 minutes to go, still 3-1, although we are going to get shown this corner, so we'll see what happens here late in the game. Puts it into the mixer, gets his head to it, does one of our Spaniard centre-backs, but just over the bar, and it is still 3-1, and we are back down the other end now for a flow-in to Reynir, and they look to get something going here down the right-hand side, similar to what they got their first goal from in this game, but we head that clear and now look to get them going the counter-attack. Ball over the top, Jansson, not quite enough pace this time to get on the end of that, and Reynir looking to get us on the counter-attack here. Svensson will have a shot, comes off the post, so a couple of good chances in the last few minutes coming off the post for either team, and it does remain 3-1 as we enter the last few minutes, although this highlight still does continue. Bitagiko, can he slot one of our strikers through here? Holds the ball up, and now the highlight finishes 3-1 as we get closer to injury time. But now there's yet another highlight, a corner, which Reynir do deal with safely, but we are in possession and look to get something going here just to absolutely make sure. But we've played pretty well throughout this game. That goal to Reynir aside to get the scoreline back to 2-1, but we struck back pretty quickly off the back of that to make it 3-1. It's been a pretty solid performance as you'd expect from us. There's another good chance there for the Argentinian right winger just over the bar. 3-1. It looks like it might finish in this game, although we do have 2 minutes of added time still to play, and Reynir were on the attack, but we do hold the ball up now and look to get something going ourselves just to close this game out with a few minutes left. Bjarnason just holding the ball up back for Aguilletas. He puts a long ball over the top, and that is straight to a Reynir player. As I said, a little bit more loose passing in this game than what we've seen in our Tottenham save to start off FM22. Another ball into the mixer, and Svensson is able to put that in the bottom left corner, and this game is not done yet. 3-2 with only 1 minute of added time to go. They're looking to get us aerially, which to be fair isn't much of a surprise because we don't have the greatest aerial centre-backs, and it's showing so far both their goals coming from headers. That time it was Inigo who got beaten in the air. It is 3-2 with just over a minute to go. I think we'll tell the boys to really slow things down, start to time waste frequently. We'll just get them to really slow things down. We might also force the opposition outside. That might have been a good idea to start things off at this club anyway, but we are well over added time now, and in our first game here at Volsungur, we are going to pick up a 3-2 win. We should have won that game a lot more comfortably. Obviously, the penalty certainly helped us, but we created a lot of chances, not quite as clinical as we probably should have been with them. They were very clinical with their chances, but in the end, we do pick up a 3-2 win in the first game of the save, albeit against a team who are expected to be in the relegation fight. But a good start, 3 points from the first game of the season. And back in the inbox after that win in our first game of the save, starting things off, how we would like, we'll go have a look at the league table, but obviously only after one match week. This isn't going to tell you guys a true story of what teams that you would expect to be up there, but it is a good start from us, albeit, as I said, against a team who we should have been beating. Potentially a little bit concerning that we only beat them by 1 goal, but a good start to life here at Volsungur, picking up a win in our first game of the series, with Husavik getting 2 assists as well, so he did have a good game, picking up man of the match, albeit you probably can't see that because my head is probably blocking it, but Husavik, our deep lying forward, who's really here just while that injury does occur to the first choice striker, he had a good game, which is nice to see. I think our squad depth is certainly going to be one of our strengths here at Volsungur in this first season, but that will do for today's episode. The first game in charge here at Volsungur, picking up a win, albeit a narrow one, over Reynir. In terms of when we'll be back, I'm just going to see how much I get done off camera until we have to do tomorrow's recording, to be fair, because I don't think there's any games here that are overly eye-catching. I mean, I suppose the Icelandic Cup second round could be an interesting thing to come back for, but I think we're just going to play it and see how I get on, really, because I don't think in the third tier of Icelandic football, especially early in the season, there's going to be too many fixtures that catch the eye. We'll certainly start to be able to plan things a bit better once the table settles down in the second half of the season, but we'll see how we get on. This fixture that does stand out for us, I think, is that Icelandic Cup second round tie at the start of June. We'll see if we can get a little cup run going in that competition. That is one of the competitions that if you win, you do secure yourselves European football in the next season. If you win that, we're probably not going to be able to win it from the third tier, but we could potentially have a good run in that competition. But as I said, I think early on in the save, we'll just come back when we can, and then in the second part of the season, albeit not a very long season here in Iceland, we can start to figure out which teams are stronger and come back for those games towards the end of the season. But if you did enjoy today's episode, our first game in charge, and getting to know the squad a little bit more here at Volsungur, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying what you see here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. And until I see you for Husavik Heroes tomorrow, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.